Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. We're on BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble, as well as Spotify if you're watching the video. And I'm joined with my co-host, Arnold, for another episode of Sane in an Insane World. And as always, we'll tell you what we're going to discuss to pique your interest. So, Arnold is too excited again. Job apocalypse, Polish presidential elections, Patriotic Strike demonstrations, genetic engineering of soil and microbes, and dead internet theory. AI, Chat GPT for population UAE, AI in healthcare, and AI resists termination commands. Good News Caravan, turn down richness, plan to eliminate federal income taxes, music eases pain, and free dry cleaning. Apologies for that. Health, ban fake lab-grown meat, MDF and its dangers, impact of Ozempic, 90% medical info is flawed. Other topics, fact or fake, Abraham Traore, and Ireland's new organ donation system. So, job apocalypse. What's that about, Arnold?
Yeah, it's not so much a fun topic to start with, but I put it there because what I see in the mainstream media, they don't mention anything about it, but it has an impact on all of us. And what am I talking about? Here's a text which I'm partly going to read. It's an interview with Dario Amodei, who's the CEO of Anthropic. And Anthropic is one of the main AI LLM models. You get the most well-known things is like OpenAI and Grok and all, but in that list, Anthropic is one of the main players. And there was an interview with the CEO of Anthropic, and what he has said, and this was this week, so it's really, and he said that AI could wipe out half, I'm repeating, half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment up to 10 to 20% in the next 1 to 5 years. That's why I wanted to share it with you, and that's why the article is called Job Apocalypse. What does it mean? If you're a young person, you're now at university or any other education, and is you saying like half of the entry-level job will be gone. Right? And he said that he expects, and that is what I dislike about what these guys are doing. Well, I dislike that jobs are gone and nobody's talking about what to do about it. But he pushes the responsibility to someone else, because in the second bullet he says the government should need stop sugarcoating what's coming, the possible elimination of jobs across technology, finance, law, consulting, and other white-collar, especially the entry level, but not limited to the entry level. Guys, these were jobs which your parents probably and old people would say is like, yeah, go in any one of these areas, technology, finance, law, consulting, you will have a nice job for the rest of your life. What he is saying, forget about it. They're being replaced. Yeah? And he said what they're doing is that they are reordering society, because this has a huge impact on society. And he says, government doesn't talk about this, CEOs are not talking about this, but there is a huge risk around this. What I dislike about it, well, basically everything, but the main thing is that he is pushing the responsibility to other companies and to the government and say, you need to be doing something about this. But hey, dude, you're one of the guys who make this happen. What are you doing about it? How are you addressing this? By the way, do you have children, Mr. Amodai? Eh? How old are your children? What are they supposed to do? So, and this is what we basically every week in our show have been discussing, is like AI has such an impact, but nobody talks about how to deal with it, how to have a job, how to have an income, especially among young people, but I think it's about any age. Yeah. So it's like that has an impact, but it's like, do you need the training? Do you need to be retrained? And if yes, in what? Hmm? So this is really crucial. But again, what these guys do is they create the problem and say to someone else, you better solve it. So that's why I put it here as the main item on the news. Everybody really need to be aware of this thing.
I mean, even all technology, obviously, but like you said, my father, he used to work in the cinema, so we used to get into the cinema all the time free. And I remember, he'd bring you into the projector room and you'd see all the big reels and they'd have to split it up into smaller reels and everything. That all got replaced later on by just electronic. There's no more reels. It's just press play. So that could even be done remotely. So the amount of people that were actually doing that job, sometimes when they had a multi-cinema, there could be a couple of people doing that. And that became just a few. And that's just like we talked about the cinemas, the trucks and everything. So it's worrying. That's hence why we talk about it a lot. I suppose the next one is the Polish elections, because it's actually, as of this recording, today is 1st of June, Sunday, and the final two candidates, Karol Nawrocki, he's the civic candidate. So that's like the Law and Justice platform is called PIS. In Poland, and the other guy is Rafał Trzaskowski, as I mentioned in previous, and he's the civic platform, which is PO in Polish, Platforma Obywatelska. And
so one is taking the piss, or how do you?
Hey, well, that's what I always say. One's the piss and ball. That's what I got him out. So previously, as I said, it's like 31.4% in 29, and there was a presidential debate, and your man Carol failed to turn up. So some people are saying is it tactics and everything, but I've even talked to somebody during the week. I had a breakfast meeting with a friend, and he was saying like the guy Carol, he's a hooligan. He was a hooligan and proud of it. Like these people that fight at football matches and stuff like that. And there was something else about prostitution, but at the same time, he's for sovereignty and kind of keep the borders closed, whereas the other guy is all pro EU. Lots of protests, kind of pro and against. Not sure. They still don't know who's going to vote. I'll let you, but I mean, you can probably see it in the news anyway, but I'll keep you in the loop if you don't. But it's an interesting one, and it's not, it's still very close just by what I'm seeing. So we've got Patriotic Strike, is that one?
Yeah, it's actually this was partly last weekend and last week. There have been demonstrations in Spain. The picture you see is obviously in Spain, where people are no longer accepting that, well, their own housing conditions, the unsafety, everything happening in their countries right now. So this is happening in Spain. I understand, and I haven't seen much around it, but there have been strikes in Britain all week, where people are no longer accepting that, well, people who are born in their country and live there, that they become a stranger in their own country. I didn't add, but I saw early this morning, I saw videos about what's happening in Paris. Now you would say, what's happening in Paris? The PSG won the Champions League, and it should be all great. But it started with festivities, and then there became riots, and and people were stealing from shops. Everything was on fire. You couldn't drive on the street because there was fire. So fight between Islamitic guys and local guys and everything. A complete disaster. It looked like a war zone. Whereas they supposed to be celebrating because their team was the best team in Europe. So it's happening everywhere and it's getting crazier by the day. So these are not exceptions, but that's why we keep on sharing it with you, because it's like in the mainstream media you don't see this, you don't hear this, but it's really big. It's really big, and it's really a mess. So I think it's good that people are well, the riots is not good, but it's that people are not accepting this and say, hey, this is not the country which we were living in. This is not what we want.
And I wasn't going to cover that, but just as what you've just said, Liverpool, I mean, that was in the news last week. There was a guy who kind of went through and knocked down loads of people. And I was like, why is there so much kind of controversy of who it was? I guess it's a 53-year-old white man, and then it's a dark younger man. And what I saw today, and it's very hard to kind of get concrete evidence of what it is, but they were saying that it was an unmarked police car and you could see a military pants on your man, and that basically he wouldn't have got in, only that he had access to get in. And I found it very strange that there was so many police protecting that, whereas if that really happened and somebody knocked down a lot of people, I think most people would just kind of go, whatever the crowd does, he deserves. So the whole lot didn't. So it looks like it was orchestrated by the UK government again, which they do with a load of things, but it's very hard to confirm it. But that's what I saw this morning.
Totally incredible. Totally incredible.
So soil, I think, is the next one. So genetic engineering in soil microbes involves manipulating microbial DNA to enhance or introduce specific traits beneficial for various applications. The process involves several key techniques: DNA isolation and gene cloning, gene design, and regulatory sequences transformation using methods of electropropagation, CRISPR. I've heard of that before with one of our guests, CRISPR, gas systems for precision cloning editing, and a selection of CRISPR, yeah. But it's kind of all capitals. But I remember one of the ladies was talking about that, and selection of screening matter for like who are the boys? It's kind of Bayern, Monsanto, not the May West of people, Synergenta and BASF, and they're kind of doing it across millions of acres of US farmland, probably everywhere else as well. They're supposed to be like enhanced crop and develop pesticides and all this. But if we look at like Monsanto and all that, the seeds, like I know that those thousands in India, loads all over the world, because they'd get the seeds, and then you normally get seeds from your crop, but no, you have to keep buying the seeds, and then if it blew into your bio, then that was infected as well. And now they're doing it with the soils and like ecological disruption, potential for unprecedented open space genetic experiments, risk of disrupting existing ecosystems, possible creating invasive species. I mean, this is scary. It's like everything else that they're doing. Like, I mean, these companies aren't good. I mean, I think Gates is being Monsanto as well. So, like, this should scare you. And I don't know if anyone watches, I started watching again recently, Jeremy Clarkson's Farm on Amazon. So there's 4 seasons. So I'd watched 2 and I started watching the 3rd one. And like even from previous ones, you just see how the city, the councils, how they affect the farmers and the stupidity. And you'd like to just line them all up and give them a good slap into the head. You have idiots making decisions and regulations. And just watching him going through is worth watching the show, just to see the stupidity of what governments do. But not only do you have that, then you've got all this GMO and all the things that they're doing. So what's that going to do? Does that kill all the worms? What, like all the ecosystem, do the worms, the birds eat that, and the other animals that start eating these things? Do we get cancers from it, from what they're doing? Because that happens a lot and they don't care, they just still do it. But that scares the shit out of me, to be honest with you.
Well, even does that mean that the farmers basically the only thing which they own is their soil. So now they have to pay for the soil.
Yeah,
I know, and it's very well known in India, but I guess it's all over the world. Is that now because they had in a normal harvest, you would get the seeds out of your harvest and then you use it the next year. But they like you said, they manipulate it so you have to buy, which means they got to spend extra money out of their very limited profit. And now they not only have to buy the seed but also buy the soil. These guys cannot survive on that. And what I was going to say is that the number of suicide among Indian farmers is huge. It's huge because these people cannot sustain themselves and their families. And if you now the only thing what you own is your soul, and now you have to buy that as well. Well, I think they're done.
I mean, they're already attacking the farmers, and like even if you because they're telling you the costs and everything in this show, the fertilizer has gone up so much, and you see the amount of money, and then the crop isn't producing, so they're not even selling it, and then they're depending on the markets, which is manipulated as well. All the commodities are manipulated, so all the big boys are making money the whole time. They're selling this shit, they're making you buy this shit, they're regulating that you have to take this shit, and then when you sell, they ruin the market, so you get pennies in the dollar. Then they subsidize it, so you have to do what they say. And then they say, okay, no more farm animals. You have to plant crap that nobody needs. And people do it because they're getting a handout. And eventually that handout will stop and people will just say, oh, I'm no longer a farmer. And that's happening internationally. AI. What's that? Oh, we've another one. I'm running ahead today. Arnold, dead internet
theory. I hadn't heard about this word until this week, which is literally called the dead internet theory. And this lady has a very good video talking about it. What does it mean? Basically, it means that the internet is dead. Why is it dead? Because we have lost control of the internet, because at the moment, only 49%, so less than half of the web traffic comes from humans. The other 51% comes from bots. So everything is busy, but it's not busy by human beings.
I'd say it's higher, Arnold. I'd say it's about 80% because anything that was investigated was higher.
Well, this is what they say in this report, and they say out of that 51%, 37% is malicious, meaning it's powered by AI and designed to manipulate what you see, think, and believe. Yeah, and so it's not only spam, it's like they flood comment sections, fake engagement. I'll come back to that later today. They generate outrage to hijack social media algorithms. They're used to sell lies, push propaganda, and silence dissent. And chances are you are already involved. So that means it's the internet is dead. Is like it's the bots and the algorithms and the AI who are running the internet, not us. That is what's happening. Yeah? So this is huge, because you especially in line and again later on with the Ibrahim Traore thing, I'll get back to this, but like with the last week I mentioned the huge video capabilities of VO from Google, which makes these videos just well not even minutes, and they totally look real. But it's like I think by far the majority of what we are seeing and what we're reading, whatever, is not real, is not done by human beings. And so the internet, which we think is life and is communication, is already totally artificial. So I think that's very important to understand.
And to kind of stop the bots, then you've got this reCAPTCHA thing where you have to kind of go hit the box, hit the taxi, hit the buses. And I'm finding that now you have to do it about 10 times. And you're spending 5 to 10 minutes, or else you just go, Jesus, I'm giving up on this. And it's like, yeah, they're stopping the bots and giving us a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I thought I'm glad you mentioned, because maybe it's got to do with my VPN or other stuff with it. But it's like, why should I have 10 pictures of buses and scooters and motorcycles and another one and another one? So I said, oh, maybe I should stop my VPN. Well, it doesn't help. And then it's like this, and I'm like, holy moly, I'm only doing this stupid shit, and I'm not even interested anymore.
AI. ChatGPT, population UAE.
Yeah, so I already mentioned the UAE earlier, where they even have this deal also with Saudi Arabia and everything to promote AI and the ChatGPT, and now they're promoting it even further because the government of the United Arab Emirates has decided to give everybody in the country a free subscription to ChatGPT Plus, which costs, for people not living there, it costs $20 a month. Yeah, but they say your entire population gets free access to ChatGPT Plus. There is nothing free in this world, guys. Yeah? It's like, I think when they say it's for free, you got to be very, very cautious, because nothing is for free. That is the same trap which a lot of people fell for, maybe even we did as well, in social media. Is like, oh, it's free. No, it's not free, because all of your data are used to train the AI bots which we are using now. Yeah? So there is no freebie. Yeah? So you have to be very cautious. It's like, why are they rolling this out to all of their population for free?
Yeah, like Lunchclub, which we both use, that's free, and I'm convinced it's used for AI, because you can be sure they're recording everything, because nothing is free, and they're just training the AI based on conversations that are happening all over the world daily.
Yeah. So a bit cuckoo, yeah?
Yeah, so AI and then healthcare. So it's just kind of letting you know different things that are going on. It's revolutioning healthcare by enabling early disease diagnosis, optimizing treatment plans, and predictive disease progression. AI-powered tools such as machine learning, ML, and deep learning analyze vast data sets to identify patterns, improving diagnostic accuracy and reducing human error. For example, AI has been used to detect breast cancer with higher sensitivity than radiologists, and to diagnose conditions like diabetes, retinotherapy, and skin cancer with remarkable precision. Additionally, AI enhances personalized medicine by tailoring treatments to individual patients and predicting outcome based on patient-specific data. Despite this transformation, potential challenges such as data privacy, bias, and integration into clinical workflows remain. And then there's like a list of different ones that what they're doing, and like Merative, I didn't realize that the Watson had been changed to that, an analytic platform that uses AI to analyze large data sets for better diagnosis, treatments planning, and patient monitoring. And I mean, I've even used it at times where I just type in exactly what a condition is, and you get so much information. Whereas if you take it that you go to your local practitioner, I mean, not all of them are great. There are some fantastic ones, and they kind of really kind of analyze everything and look at it. But sometimes the AI can actually help you, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I mean, there's obviously dangers to it as well, but it's something that I think for the way, because we've touched on it a few times on the health, and I think it's that's one of the ways that will help mankind when it's used properly. So the AI resists termination.
Yeah. Sorry, I was too fast. Yeah, but it's like there are, I don't know, I think there will be even more discussions around whether AI is sentient or not, and whether it has a will of its own, and whether it should be able to vote or things, whatever. But what has been there have been recent findings by researchers that OpenAI's latest AI models have demonstrated concerning behavior by actively sabotaging shutdown mechanisms during testing. So there was a test, they told the AI system to shut down, but even when explicitly instructed to comply with termination command, it didn't do so. So in layman, and I'm a layman term in AI, like the AI just say, "Oh, you want me to share that? I'm not going to do it." This is worrisome, guys, because it means it has a will of its own, and it just will continue doing certain things, and even if you don't want to.
Apparently, it was programmed to kind of do a few different things, including blackmail and everything, and it did that. So it's scary, all these different things. Yeah, sure, wasn't there things years ago with Facebook that they had something and it was started talking to itself and they couldn't understand the language? So yeah, and I mean the latest Mission Impossible movie is about AI, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's trying to kind of ruin the world and set off all these nuclear bombs, and that's something I've discussed a few times with people on my show, and I'm like going, hey, everything is kind of connected. There's nothing that's analog, and even if it is, everything's a frequency anyway. So the reality is, if somebody wants to infiltrate somebody else and they really develop their AI way better than another country, what's going to become of it? And that's actually scary.
So let's have some good news then.
They've been late. We should have done it earlier. They're all crying at this stage. We apologize.
Yeah. Turn down richness. This is a picture in Australia of, I think he's of Aboriginal intent of background, but I'm not 100% sure about it. This man's name is Jeffrey Lee, and he owned he still is the owner of a piece of land called Koongarra in Australia. And people, especially mining companies, wanted him to sell his land. Why is that? That because they're interested in the land? No, they're interested because apparently there's 5 billion worth of uranium in that land. So they were pushing him and say, hey, we want you to sell your land. And he said, no, I want to ensure that traditional laws and customs stay the same as when they were passed on to me. So these mining company have been pushing him, but he said this is sacred soil and the wisdom of our ancestors. So I'm not going to sell it. So I think that is really, really courageous of this man. So he didn't fall for the money. Yeah, he wanted to support his heritage and his land and his everything around that. So I think that is really, really very good of that man. Yeah. Jeffrey
Created a trust on that, because otherwise we see a lot of people standing up to the bad boys and then they mysteriously have a crash or a plane crash or a car crash or something like that. So let's hope he creates a trust that no matter what happens, it's going to live on what his wishes are.
Yeah.
Well, tax, there's a good friend Donald. So he's proposed a plan to eliminate federal income tax for individuals earning less than $150,000 per year. The proposal was articulated by the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick during a CBS interview, where he stated, "I know what his goal is: no tax for anybody who makes less than $150K a year." Like, what he's trying to do with his kind of, whether it's executive order or whatever, is that, as well as kind of removing taxes on tips, overtime pay, and social security benefits. And basically he's going to get his income from tariffs. And just on research, the average medium income in the US is nearly 75 grand, 74,580,000. And this would affect 88% of people that are earning less than 150k. And if you go back to 1913, there was no income tax. So it is possible. Some people think, oh, how are you going to pay for this? But as I've seen a lot of comments on different things like, hey, yeah, so much tax, and yet I can spot potholes everywhere, and every single thing is done against us. They're spraying against us. So, I mean, if something like that happens, I think it's fantastic. And maybe other countries then will have to follow, or, well, I know they're trying to stop people coming in, but if the people got the right skill set that are going to help society, a lot of people would move there based on that. So, music eases pain. What's that one about? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like when we think about pain and everything, is that, yeah, we put people full with painkillers and they get, well, you can even become addicted to painkillers, and they can be very, very nasty side effects as well. But at university hospitals in Cleveland, they introduce music therapy. Yeah. And music apparently reduces pain perception by 20%. 20%, 20% less pain. I wish I had that when I was in hospital. Yeah. So 20% less pain is really, really very good. And they work in harmony with traditional treatments. And it's not just a distraction, it's a time-tested healer, tapping into brain chemistry to reshape emotions and reduce stress. From cancer patients to those with Alzheimer's, music bridges the gap that medication can't. The BTO, so this shows that with non-chemical traditional treatment, it works, and it works better than medicalizing people. So music therapy is real and it works 20%.
And this goes back for over 100 years. The Tartarian, it looks like all of that was the frequencies for healing. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it on this show, but my meditation, I've got a few meditations that are healing frequencies. They've been removed by Spotify. Why would they want to do that? So it 100% it works. It's just that, yeah, it's all about the money. Be a patient for life, be on all these drugs with side effects and everything. So yeah, well worth checking out for them. And there's a few people now have music that they're giving out for free. That if you search it, you'll find it. And yeah, it's well worth doing. A free dry cleaning. What's that about? I don't know.
Yeah, it's an article which I read about. I assume it's a man, but it's a difficult name. It's called Ali Shirk Hodai. He immigrated to the US in 1986 and he started a dry cleaning business. But he had an ambition that he wanted to infuse his career with acts of kindness. Yeah, so not only make money with it, but also be kind. I wish more people would do that. Yeah? But he found a way to be kind by offering free cleaning to any customer who was unemployed and prepare for a job interview. So you're unemployed, you have a job interview, then he would give you free dry cleaning. And in the story it goes, there was a woman who came to him for a shirt pressing on her way to an interview. So he helped her for free. Afterwards, she stopped by and to tell him that she got the job. So obviously, she said, I fell in love with my community, and Ali and his team, they were more excited even than she was. So there are still good people around. And it works, yeah? Because, well, apparently the lady, well, the content was good, but she looked good because she just was with the dry cleaner and she got a job. So I think it's a beautiful initiative, and if you continue on this line of thought, there's so many things in this way which you could be doing, because when you're unemployed and whatever, you don't have any money or very, very little money, so you cannot afford to go to the dry cleaner and do it for free. There are many other things which you can envision in the line of this, what this man was doing. So I think then we have a much kinder and a much more social world. So it's really, really an excellent initiative.
Seen people as well that bring food to places rather than just dumping it or let it go. And people can come along and just take the food. And there's also in restaurants, people can pay for a meal. So they say, look, if you can't afford it, just come along. And they provide meals for people as well. So, yeah, excellent. Yes. So, and fake lab grown meat.
Obviously, this picture is not the fake lab grown meat. It's real meat, and it's in Italy. Italy was one of the first countries who banned it. So the fake lab meat, which is promoted by our friend Gates, is in Italy. They said you're not allowed to sell that in our country. It's only real meat. And now there are 6 states in the United States who also banned this fake lab meat. By the way, why should you consider the fake lab meat extremely unhealthy and has very, very nasty side effects? So I think it's a very, very good initiative. Yeah, already 6 states in the U.S., one country is say we're not gonna do these fake lab meat. So I would encourage you, don't eat it. Well, if you eat meat, only eat real meat, because it's really not good for you.
I always found it strange that, like, people that are vegan and vegetarian, which is grand, whatever you're into for, but they always kind of make it like fake chicken, fake hot dogs. They make it look exactly the same, but yet it's made of, and there's a lot of them are soya based, which is very dangerous as well. It reduces the testosterone. So, and what chemicals are putting into that to give it the flavor. And they're not going to diagnose that. They're not going to tell you, oh, this is going to cause cancer, because all their line is to the bottom is the dollar. So next one is MDF Safe. So, I mean, I think most people would have had that in their house at some stage, put a kitchen unit together, put a kind of, a desk or something. We've all kind of done that. There's times we'd cut off bits and not depend, but it's a popular engineered wood product made from wood fibers bonded together with adhesives, primarily urea formaldehyde. While it is widely used in furniture and carpentry due to its affordability and versatility, cutting and working with MDF poses severe health and safety risks. One of the primary dangers associated with is the dust generated during cutting and sanding. The dust contains high level of the formaldehyde, and a chemical recognized as a carcinogen. Inhalation of the dust can lead to serious health issues, including respiratory problems and irritation of the eyes, throat, and skin. Prolonged exposure can increase the risk of developing asthma and other chronic respiratory conditions. So, what can we do? Wear a mask, do it outside if we can, maybe stay away from it, get normal timber. Or use I've worked on construction sites, you have a dust extraction system. So hopefully if you're in a factory that are doing that, because unfortunately a lot of the times they don't adhere to these things, so make sure that they've got a proper extraction system to protect your house. But it's just one to be aware of. So next one, Ozimac, is that one?
No, it's called Ozempic.
Ozempic, okay.
Ozempic is one of the, and I don't know whether it's the number one or maybe another one, but it's a weight loss drug, I would say. So it's like, in the past, like, what's the normal way of losing weight? Well, having a different diet, do exercise, all of these things. But we know people only go for instant gratification. a lot of people are just plain lazy, so they're not doing it. But if you pop well, I don't know what it is because it looked like, well, use something of this Ozempic thing, whatever. It's like you lose weight and you basically, that's the only thing you have to do. So that makes it extremely interesting to a lot of people. So people all over the world are using this Ozempic thing and they say it works, I'm losing weight. And the end I don't say is like, I don't need to do anything. Is it whatever. But there is a but. Yeah. It doesn't cure obesity, it creates lifelong customers. The weight comes right back when you stop taking it. So if you say, let's say I lose 5 kilo, you say it's fine, now I can stop using it. Your weight comes back. Hmm? It it doesn't fix anything, it only shuts off your hunger. So you're not feeling hungry anymore. So that's why you don't eat it. And the side effects are far worse than what they're telling you. I'm going to list now some of the side effects: stomach paralysis, bowel obstructions, suicidal thoughts, vision loss, facial wasting, and sagging breasts, some of which are permanent. So, in addition to what I said earlier today, like nothing is for free. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is easy. I'm gonna take this, whatever, and millions of people are thinking because I think it's by a Danish company. I forget the name, but whatever. Their main profit is from this tool. Yeah, because there are millions of people using it. Because again, people are lazy. Is like, hey, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna lose weight. Great, but it comes at a cost. And these costs are really terrible. So don't use this stuff.
The thing as well is a lot of times people, they just get into a routine and they start eating all the processed food and they get to a certain stage where people say, hey, or they get a little health scare and then they start going to the gym and start eating healthy and looking after themselves. But when they're doing crap like this, they just keep eating the way they are with the processed foods and everything. So you're just loading your body with toxins. You're not getting the right nutrients and everything. So there's a double effect on this one. And it sounds like a country, actually, the name of it. So, this fact or fake?
Yeah, it was Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore. This is a picture of him. He's the leader of Burkina Faso, an African country. A few shows ago, I shared that he was giving electricity for free to elderly people, which is excellent, excellent idea. But now it was quite interesting because I saw a speech of him in a video, and then Roy, a few hours later, sent me that same video where he was talking about how Africa, had a lot of resources, but mostly like from uranium to cobalt to everything else, but is being plundered by the Western countries and everything else. But then Roy made the remark like, is this real or not? Is it an AI thing or not? And I had seen the same thing. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting question because I saw like, it seems to be that this is a good guy. I'm not sure, but whatever, it's like everything. Then I checked the comments, and then there was one person who said, it's like, in Burkina Faso, they speak French and probably a native other language, but the main language is French. You can hardly read it, but even here in his beneath his profile is his name is like Le Capitaine, yes, which is French. Is it's like apparently he's a French guy, but there was a comment like everything around that where he was taking it up for Africa and everything. Very smooth, very good English. He hardly speaks English. Yeah, so your gut feel was right, Roy. But it's like that is why everybody is now going totally berserk about, look at what these video tools can do and these AI videos or whatever. But like I said last week, this is ruining your perception because you have no clue these days whether it's real or not. And I think that's very dangerous. Yeah. Not only because you start to, if you look at it and think, oh, maybe he's a good guy, but maybe he's not, because maybe he didn't say all these things. Yeah, so it fools you. It fools me. Yeah, so it's like, and that's why I think it will take only a few months where people are starting to like, well, I will stop watching this video because I have no clue whether some of these are real or fake.
Somebody came out and said that they think that this is actually going to be better for us because we're getting so used to seeing it. It's like, you just kind of realize, because there's a lot of them that come out and you go, whoa. And then you start researching more and you go, no, it's a lie. So there's so many people just spewing lies. And what it's going to do is get people to start meeting up again and sitting down, having a dinner, having a breakfast, just going for a walk and having conversations and staying away from technology. And I hope more of that happens, because if I look at when am I in my happiest moment is when you're sitting with people and having a good conversation and chatting away, instead of looking at all this crap when you're kind of going, is that true or not true? And like, there's so many people, like I've had so many interviews with people, and I'm always curious, like, how do we know what's real and what's not? There's no way of knowing, because they manipulate so many different things. The history books are being manipulated. I know we've got AI into the equation, and it's like, and they're constantly trying to catch you out. So then they go, oh, look what Ryan Arnold posted. They fell for that, like, and you never do it. So there's people intentionally doing it so that other people will go. So that's why we have to kind of look at a load of different places to gather information. And you can still make a mistake. But I think the most important thing is when you do get caught, put up your hand and say, hey, I thought this, and now I think that. Whereas a lot of people, the ego gets in the way and they don't do that. So don't be afraid to put up your hand when you're wrong. So, yeah, nice one on the organs there. And it's kind of following up on, I think I briefly mentioned it about, because we were talking about the UK girl in Turkey that her heart went missing when they brought the body back. And I think I mentioned that there was something on this, but Ireland. So it's implementing a significant change to its organ donation system on June the 17th of this year, introducing what's known as soft opt-out option. Under this new legislation, all individuals aged 18 and over will automatically be presumed to have consented to organ donation upon their death, unless they've explicitly registered their decision to opt out. Presumed consent to everybody of it would be considered an organ donor, and then family involvement. Despite presumed consent, families will still be consulted about donations. But I mean, at the end of the day, how will people know? Implementation date is, as I mentioned, but the EU, because I was then trying to see, okay, what is this, just Ireland or whatever? 19 out of the 27 EU member states currently implement opt-out organ donation system. The UK was in May 2020. Arnold, you're Dutch. Do you think that's in your country?
Yeah, well, this is a psychology thing. Is like, yeah, there's a default, and the default is that you opt in, and then you need to take an action to opt out.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, they brought it into your country.
Yeah. So, but that all these things. That's why I say it's a behavioral tool, because most people won't even know this, but it's like, well, you don't need to do anything, which is their preferred option. Huh?
Yeah. And
so that is how your behavior is being manipulated, because again, people are lazy and people don't want to take action. So it's like they make the default option which they want, and that you got to do something in order to get out of it.
Yeah. I didn't have it here, but I remember reading when I was looking at this, that Spain, it's something like a 90%, so only 10% opted out. And they're saying Greece, Iceland and Switzerland have also recently joined it as well. So the thing is, Yeah, if you've Gates, Sorrows, or any of these kind of people that need a heart, like, I mean, do the right people. The reality is, ethically, if something happened and you knew you were on your way out and you could save someone's life, great. But it's always the rich people, it's all the politicians and everything. So would I trust them? No. Would they, like in the case of Turkey recently, I mean, could that lady have been saved? Quite possibly. And are they doing it because there's a dollar attached to it? So that scares me. So I would be opting out. So I think that's all for today, Arnold. So you'll find Arnold on braingym.fitness. You'll find me on roycollin.com. Just scan the QR code. And we have a donation button to help with our costs. And also, you can just write to us if you've got some topics, or if you think there's some sites that we should be checking out. We're happy to do that. And please, share to groups, comment, because we're seriously shadow banned, we're seriously censored and everything. I have to, like, even when I'm putting up shorts, like, a lot of the times I get strikes for different things that I'm doing, even though, like, it's not fake stuff, like 15-minute cities and things like that, and the tracking on the cars, it's 100% true, but yet they'll give me a strike and they'll remove it. So when you're sharing it with people or just giving a thumbs up, it just shows it to more people, and we appreciate that. Until next week, take care.